I'm often asked, why a special library? I had to ask myself that question. I had no intention of starting such a thing. It was not until I began to understand that children's literature, and when I say children, I also mean teen literature, has changed so dramatically over the last 50 years that we can no longer just assume that the libraries that are around us have the same type of content that we grew up with or that we would want for our children to have. So we have to be a lot more mindful now about what our kids are consuming. And when we read, we're consuming very, very, very deeply. For example, right now the culture is very techy, and so it tends to emphasize things in a technical and superficial and partitioned way. I can give you an example of that right here. Here's a book that's supposedly about a forest, but we never actually see a whole forest. We just see one root or one seed pod. So the forest has been kind of divided up into all of its parts. But you'll notice that the focus is on the material parts of a forest. It's never actually the whole forest with all the symphonic grandeur and majesty. That's because right now the culture seems to be focusing on what it can control, which is material things, and it's kind of shying away from, I should say, the epic grandeur and the majesty of things which are immaterial. But we know that what our hearts long for is immaterial truth, immaterial principles, immaterial values, immaterial heroism, and that's why the books of the earlier generations are exactly that. Instead of being broken up, it's going to be one whole thing that really celebrates, for example, an actual forest. And the book itself just flows and flows and flows and flows. So if you think about what it is that you're really looking for in a library, it's not going to be just the moral issues that are of extreme importance. It's going to be the very nature of the books themselves, how they look at the world and how they look at the reader. And that is what we want to be careful to provide at the richest level. And that is why we have this library, to do exactly that.